Good morning. Thank you for taking time out today. My name's Greg Benson-Shettle. I'm one of the application engineers here at Graitec UK. So welcome. In today's agenda, let's see what we're going to be looking at. Agenda's fairly light, although the content is pretty heavy. We're going to take a look at the full AutoCAD offering in all its various guises of what AutoCAD is. Then we're going to go and have a look at some of the new features before moving on to some live demo sessions, and then finally we'll take a look actually at the benefits of the new purchasing system, which is the desktop subscription system. First of all, obviously there's a couple of big differences between the offerings on AutoCAD. You've got AutoCAD LT and you've got AutoCAD Full. So there are some big differences between the two. However, like so many things, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And the differences are only big differences if they matter to you. So let's take a look at some of the key differences between LT and Full AutoCAD first of all. Okay, in a nutshell, there's a powerful set of 3D modeling tools and rendering tools. These are not available in Revit LT. Data extraction to tables, both in your drawing and exportable. Full AutoCAD, you can do data extraction of information on blocks and attributes, and either display them on your drawing and actually export them out into a format that you could look at them in a spreadsheet such as Excel. API enabled, what does that mean? Application Program Interface plugin and extensions. This basically means that when you have one of the full versions of AutoCAD, you can get plugins from the Applications Exchange store. When you look on your AutoCAD up in the info panel, up there, up in the top right hand side, you'll see a little blue and white X. When you click on that, it takes you to AutoCAD's App Store. And in there, there's lots and lots of different plugins, both from AutoCAD and from other independent vendors of plugins that can be useful add-on tools to your application. Some of these also are available as what we call subscription benefits as well, so directly from Autodesk's developers themselves. Network licensing. Okay, Full AutoCAD comes with Network License Manager, and this allows the distribution of AutoCAD software licenses to users across a network. Okay, with LT, it's got to be installed on the sole machines, and you can't just log in anywhere. You've got to be on the machine that it's installed upon. Point cloud. Okay, what's point cloud? Point cloud is the up and coming. Well, it's here now, and it's being used by many companies and retail outlets. It's the facility of being able to do a 3D scan and then bring that 3D scan data, okay, 3D laser scan data into your CAD environment. This is only available in the full products, so AutoCAD and Revit, but not the LT versions. Express tools. These are a set of extended tools for AutoCAD Full with a collection. There's all sorts of productivity tools in there, and a lot of tools that sometimes you think, well, should be in the main menu. It's almost historically, it's been a bit of a testing ground for products or commands before they actually reach the main menu system. There's quite a few more, but these are the main reasons a drawing office goes one way or another between full AutoCAD and LT. Obviously, there's many more details available from the website. And if you do a quick lookup for AutoCAD versus AutoCAD LT matrix, you get something that looks a bit like this. It comes in slightly different versions, but it's a very useful, so when you can do side-by-side comparisons. Now there is another version of AutoCAD as well. So let's add to the matrix AutoCAD for CAD, for AutoCAD for Mac, sorry. In the description, we can see that it's got a specialized interface, and we can take a brief look at this later. But for now, let's concentrate on the features and tools for each of the versions. So we've got AutoCAD, AutoCAD LT, and AutoCAD for Mac. Okay, they're a little bit faint. The website views have gone for this faint display of text recently. So on the face of it, AutoCAD, these devils for support of common file formats, multifunctional grips, command lines, object and layer transparency, tool palettes, dynamic blocks, sheet set managers. Those are all common. But then we start seeing some differences between AutoCAD and AutoCAD LT as we start to go down the list. Full AutoCAD's got parametric constraints. These are very useful for offices that may also be using Inventor, because you can produce some sketches in AutoCAD, put in parametric constraints, and those sketches can then be used inside of Inventor, and it will maintain the parametric constraints that have been imposed by the original designer. And LT doesn't have this facility. You'll notice we start getting quite a few gaps on the Mac side. Okay, obviously, again, no express tools going on here. Let's have a quick look further down. Content Explorer, illustrations, GPS integration. These are for some of the other products. Yeah, AutoCAD for Mac. Yes, it can do rendering and materials and 3D, which is all good news. Obviously, LT doesn't do any of the 3D stuff, so that we've got a big blank area here. Also, revision clouds. For some reason, in AutoCAD for Mac, they don't have that yet. Also, if you are having to use or work with MicroStation users who use the DGN format, as we can see right here, there's an absence on the AutoCAD for Mac there as well. But again, it does highlight the fact that 3D is being supported. Okay. So yeah, there are a few gaps in there when it comes to the AutoCAD for Mac version, but it has been a specially written version for Mac. So you can look for this matrix. So when you are deciding which way to go, have a look. And obviously, if you need some further help, please, give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to help out. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the AutoCAD for Mac. This is quite a popular choice for some, but it's worth remembering what we saw in the comparison matrix, because for power users, it may not be the ideal choice. However, if you want something different, it could be just what you're looking for. Let's just take a very short glimpse at AutoCAD for Mac. This is the Mac welcome screen with selectable views, and the views are depending on what you're trying to focus on. So if we start with the Create option, just like AutoCAD for Windows. Next, there's a Learn offering with video tutorials. On the Extend page, we have some further access to learning materials as well, so that's really useful. Going back to the Create page, we can see a new drawing offering right here with the Welcome to AutoCAD for Mac described. Now then, let's take a look at what it actually looks like, because it does look quite different. There it is. That is the AutoCAD for Mac display. You'll notice straight away that it's up here. It says AutoCAD 2015. AutoCAD 2015 is still the latest AutoCAD for Mac version. Okay, so this is all about 2016, but we are talking about the latest versions, and this is still the latest version of AutoCAD for Mac. So as you can see, it does look surprisingly different, and it has been written from the ground up specifically for Mac users. Over on the call-out bars here, you can choose between and this drop-down menu that you have right here. You've got different ways of looking at this. So we've got the 3D tools that you would expect in an AutoCAD product. And that about wraps it up for the Mac. So as you can see, I'll just go back there for a second. Yeah, it is quite a different interface. We've got all of these visors and these tool palettes here that maintain. You keep these on generally all of the time, because obviously there's quite a big absence of a ribbon. So effectively a lot of the ribbon tools are available on these palettes down on the right hand side. And of course all of these palettes actually are completely movable. They're floating, every single one of them, so you can move them around. So if you've got several screens, you can put them wherever you like. Okay, right, on to the main event. Let's take a look at Autodesk's AutoCAD 2016 with some great new tools that will hopefully save you some time and help you create almost any shape imaginable. You'll find some pretty good improvements to the flexibility and the precision while working in both 2D and 3D. They've concentrated on the design content and the way that it displays. We've got richer designs. There's more intelligent tools that help clear the way to faster, more precise design and documentation. Here's a quick historic look back as where we've been coming along with AutoCAD. In each release of AutoCAD, Autodesk have continually endeavored to improve how AutoCAD works, and this year's no exception, with some very nice enhancements and new features. One of the surprises with 2016 was the file format, actually. We were all expecting a new file format, as traditionally we've had file formats about every 3 years. So we were expecting this, but 2016 is still using the AutoCAD 2013 file format, just to let you know. They've put a lot of effort, especially as we're getting better and better screens all the time, into the way that the graphics are getting presented to the screen, with improvements to the drawing canvas, to produce a much nicer visual experience that makes navigating the detail of your drawings much clearer. So you can see in these examples that we've got on the screen here, these faceted lines, we've been quite used to these. They were a bit blurry back in 2014, 2015, a little sharper, but still faceted. But now they've improved the graphics engine, and on the whole, you should get some nice, crisp, clean circles and arcs, so that's well overdue really. Enhanced PDFs. Autodesk recognize that, let's be realistic, everybody uses PDFs. So they've tried to make these a much better experience for us. They've made them smaller file sizes when they're being generated. The generation of them is faster and smarter, and the content is more searchable. If you're bringing PDFs into AutoCAD, there are also some significant performance enhancements to the underlay feature for quicker, more fluid panning and zooming when working, especially when working on large files. Your text is searchable in the PDF, so if you create sheet sets in AutoCAD or AutoCAD LT, the hyperlinks to the drawings that make up the sheet sets are maintained in the PDF, so that's really useful. All the functionality is included in the DWG hyperlinks to external websites as well, named views, sheets and files, and attaching a PDF to your drawing is a lot faster. Plotting it out is quicker as well. So overall, you've got a lot more control over the vector and raster image quality of the PDF. The output is the same fidelity, but half the size. So PDF plotting performance for drawings can contain a large amount of curves. Regarding the comment about the increased fidelity and the resolution of the PDFs, these days, whether you're exporting to PDF or printing to PDF, you will find in the print dialog box we have got a new PDF options button, and in there it gives you access to change actually the DPI of your PDF. So if you are finding particular drawings are looking a little bit grainy or a bit bitty when you produce a PDF, then these options should allow you to increase the DPI of your output. The new coordination model feature eliminates unnecessary guesswork. Okay, what's this about? You might use AutoCAD alongside many other Autodesk products like Navisworks or Revit, or even other construction-focused software built on AutoCAD, such as Advanced Steel perhaps. Autodesk have added a new feature called Co-ordination model, and this allows you to attach and view Navisworks and BIM 360 glue models directly inside of AutoCAD. Incidentally, later this afternoon, mentioning the BIM aspect here, I will be doing a BIM webinar, and I think that's at 1 o'clock, I believe. So if you're interested in the BIM side of things and you haven't subscribed, go along to the website, just up in the search field. If you just type webinar, scroll down the list of webinars that we've got on play, and you should find those. With the models, they reference as you design, and you can avoid conflicts in the first place. And now basically you can truly navigate your design with everyone else's. You can start coordinating 3D models inside of your AutoCAD and check to make sure that everything's lining up the way that it should do. And we can leverage Navis's vast file format support to bring models into AutoCAD from many other applications. That's one of the great things about Navisworks. If you're not familiar with that, it's a superb coordination tool. It can literally bring in just about every single file format, CAD format you can imagine, and bring it into a coordinated file. So you can do error checking, you can start measuring off things, you can do clash detection, you can even generate little walkthroughs around scenes as well. So if you're not familiar with Navisworks, it's really worth a look at if you're considering you want to do 3D and coordination of drawings from different CAD operating systems. Okay, I mentioned this right at the front end, point clouds. Autodesk have made it easy for you to create as-built drawings from the point clouds that are now more commonly being deployed on construction projects. You can extract floor plans directly from a cross-section of the point clouds. Or using the snapping tools and the dynamic UCS support, you can create geometry directly off a point cloud when you bring it into your full AutoCAD. Smart dimensioning automatically creates appropriate dimensions and notes. I'm almost feeling like I want to go past this slide because I want to demonstrate this to you a bit later. It's really, excuse me. Yeah, this new smart dimensioning tool is really very powerful, and I look forward to showing that to you in our live demo. Here are some of the new features in AutoCAD 2016 as well. For example, you can now monitor unwanted changes from your system settings with a sysvar monitor and gain new insight into system variables. Okay, so sysvar, it's all about the system variables. So you can set up a standard, know what your standard should be to make sure that all of your AutoCADs work properly. And if anybody starts changing them, the sysvar monitor should highlight those changes to you. So the coordination, smart dimensioning, sysvar monitor, the enhanced PDFs, and also revision clouds. Yeah, these are really cool now. Autodesk 2016 with things like revision clouds, they've been enhanced to introduce a whole new way of working with them. Okay, and these have been based on a lot of requests that have been placed on the Yogi websites. Okay, so now you can easily stretch and add and remove parts of existing revision clouds to create revision clouds the shape that they should be, almost any on it, and you can pick up on it on existing objects as well. Okay, right. So that's our PowerPoint for the what's new in 2016. Hopefully that's highlighted some areas that are quite useful to you. It's time for the live demo. Okay, let's take a look at some of what AutoCAD 2016 looks like and some of the new tools and some of the features that we have in there. Okay, right from the very start, we've got here the new Start interface. Now, this as a new interface for AutoCAD was introduced a short while ago. It was like a replacement or an amalgamation of the old welcome screen that we had, and it works really nicely. Of course, you've got all your recent documents here, and you can scroll up and down. It's always worth remembering with these as well, you've got the ability to pin items in place, and so that they never leave your recent list, and so that can be quite useful, but a lot of people overlook this. Now, you'll notice that even after I've got some other drawings that I've got open here, and as I hover over them, we have these drop down, so you can go to any particular views that you may have. Okay, but the Start menu is still there, so you can always go back to it. Now, the new tab, this new Start tab, they have introduced a new system variable. So if you don't want to have this Start tab always on there, you can type in Start mode and then set the variable to 0, and then basically the Start tab doesn't get displayed. Not sure why you'd want to do that, because I do find it very useful. But if you want to switch it off and you find it annoying, they have introduced this Start mode variable, all one word, and then you set it to 0, and then it won't display. If you do use that variable and it turns off, if you want to turn it back on again, it does require a restart of your AutoCAD. Now, providing you're connected to the internet, this new welcome screen that was introduced a little while ago, you'll notice we're on, if we look down here, we can see that we're on the Create screen, but there's also a Learn screen. And if you do that, it swipes across, and right in here, you've got access to video information, what's new, okay, AutoCAD new features, overview part 2, and there's an awful lot of learning features here. One thing that's quite nice is learning tips, okay. This learning tips, these are basically tip of the day, and they actually get updated every 24 hours. So if you're having a cup of coffee and you want to learn something, you can just have a look at the learning tips, and they've got some scrolling arrows here, so you can literally scroll through other tips that they give you, which is quite nice. To go back to the Create ribbon, we can either click on the Create button down here, or I should be able to use this little side menu bar, and it slides across. Okay, let's take a look. Right, so here we have a typical drawing, and the area that I'd like to highlight to you is actually going to be all of these layouts that we've got down the bottom. Yeah. Now, I've actually got quite a few. Now, the way that they've organized this now is that once you run out of space here, you'll find that you've got some chevrons, and if you click on there, you can see all of them, so you can navigate to other layout views that you have on a drawing via this system here. So if I click on 11, it now goes to 11, and as you can see, they've shuffled down. In addition to this, they've made a drag and drop facility, so you can reorganize this. So if I wanted tab 11, you can see there I can decide where I'd like to place it. So I could put it anywhere I like. Boom. There it is. Now, if you've started adding, you've got a status bar now, and obviously the status bar has been, last year they amalgamated the status bar so that it's all over on the right-hand side. This allowed us to actually gain a bit more screen space on our main canvas, because it meant that these tabs were dropped down. So that was quite useful. But if you needed to switch any of these on and off, remember this, you've got the little hamburger menu here, click on it, and there are all of the status bar tools that you can decide which ones you want switched on and off. And now in 2016, if you did have all of these on and you found that you just, maybe because of the resolution of your screen, these there were too many, what happens now is they actually scroll around and create a second line of icons for you. Okay. Let's have a look at some of these new features that we've been looking at. Should we start with revision clouds? Let's see how these revision clouds work. I'm just going to pop over to model space. Have I got a suitable layer for these, my revision clouds? Not really, not worry. One of the nice things, this actually happened in 2015, getting into the layers property menu has always been a tiny little icon which was very small. Now they've made it this nice big icon. So if you did want to create or edit your layers, you've got a nice, easy to get to, easy access button right here. And so I can just quickly create a new layer like so. Oh, can't spell today. There we go. And I can make that the new layer. Some other tools that came in last year, but I thought it's worth highlighting now, is if you pick up a drawing and it's got lots and lots of layers in that you don't really need, You can select multiple layers these days, like so. And if you do a right click, one of the really nice options to help clean up the amount of layers you've got is this merge to. And then you can merge all of the information on your layers. Lost sound. I'm sorry, I didn't notice this. Is the sound back now? Sorry about that, folks. Don't know quite why that happened. I didn't appear to have any disconnections. Okay, the layer tab section. Okay, just go back over the layer tab section for you. For those of you that didn't hear the layer tabs, just close this for a second. Okay, if you have lots and lots of layer tabs, as you see here, there's now an extension menu right here. So we can actually, you can choose which of the layouts that you want to go for simply by selecting them. So we go to a different page, so I can go to page 12 and layout 12 has come. Now also the layouts, you can now shuffle them about quite easily simply by clicking and dragging. And so as you can see, I'm holding my left mouse button down here and it's working like so. And I can just move it to wherever I need to. We've got a mixed feedback on the sound. Some people didn't lose it and some people did. So I do apologize about that. Maybe it's a GoToWebinar issue. Okay, back to the layer thing I was just about to show you. If you do open up and you're inheriting drawings from somebody else, and there's a whole bunch of layers that really for your purposes you don't need, there's a really nice new layer merge facility. So you could grab a whole section of layers if you wanted to, do a right click, and then you can say merge to, and then it will put all of the geometry onto onto whichever layer you select, and all of those other layers will be removed from the layer list. So that can help clean up your files. Okay. Thank you. Just concerned I'm talking to nobody. Much appreciate that. Sorry about these technical problems. I don't know why. Right. So, yeah, very nice little feature here. It was brought out last year, but I thought I'd highlight it while I had the new layer manager open. Right. So, making the RevCloud current layer. Let's go to the Annotate ribbon, and here we have RevClouds. Now, if I use the drop down, you can see you can choose what you want. So if I just want a simple rectangular one, I can click on here. Now, obviously it's all looking a bit strange. So the first thing that we always need to do when you're setting up your RevClouds is check the settings, because otherwise you end up with something that doesn't quite look as you would hope it would. So I'll start the RevCloud again from the command line. I'm going to check the arc length option. Okay, obviously I've got a metric unit here. Let me just change my units. Rev cloud, arc length. Okay, let's change this to something different. 100, 100. And rectangle. There we go. So it makes it nice and easy. You just pull these things out in nice regular shapes. If you pick on them, you can add vertex, remove vertex, straighten. You flex them about quite easily, and they'll move in an orderly manner. It's not something random. Similarly, if I had another shape, I could go for freehand or maybe object, and I wanted to turn this object into a rev cloud. That's very useful as well. So if you've got any existing geometry, you can use that option as well. So and just convert it. So the rev cloud, it's just made it so much easier and much more friendlier to use. Right. So let's take a look also at some of this new dimensioning tool that's going on. So I'm going to go to another suitable drawing that we've got here. I can hover and go to the model space of this particular view. Right. So here we've got a typical engineering drawing, and there's some new features in here. So if you're into engineering drawings, or perhaps you just want to be able to place something in the middle, there we have got a new object snap, which is really quite cool. Now, I have a shape here, and I've got a cam bearing system, and I want to apply this, and I'd like it to be in the middle of this shape. So more specifically, I'd like it to be in the middle of the geometric middle of this shape. So let's see what we can do. Just going to select it, right click, use the move command, pick a base point. Now watch this. I'll zoom in here slightly. I'm going to hover over the edge. Now, do you see that little asterisk that has appeared? That is the geometric center of this shape. So I can literally snap it onto there. Very cool, I think. Okay, what does this look like in the actual status bar settings? So if we come down to the object snap, do a right click, and it's this new setting right here, geometric center. So for when you need to do something, do your engineering drawings, really useful. Or you could even use it for making sure that you wanted to put maybe a room label in the absolute middle of a room, providing it's got a closed polyline, you're good to go. Right, let's take a look now also at one of the other nice new features, and that is this dimensioning tool. Okay, now your traditional dimensioning tools are all here from this drop-down menu. The linear, aligned, so these are all the typical dimensioning tools that we always use. Okay, but it's now been replaced by this one big one. I just want to pop to the home ribbon and actually do this from here. Right, let's place some dimensions on here and see how quickly we can now dimension this with this new dimensioning tool. Off we go. Right, so you can, as you would expect to, I could, if I want to, I can just pick and obviously pick and drop it in. Nothing too new about that. But how about if I just point to the line and click and bring it out, like so. Yeah. How about this line here? Point to it and bring it out. Let's try this. How about a curve? Okay, I point to this, click on it, bring it out. Let's have a look at this circle. There we go. Point to the circle and bring it out. I don't know whether you've noticed, but I've been putting all of these different dimensions in, okay, with just the one command sequence. Just the one. I haven't been swapping from, radius, measuring a radius to a diameter, doing an aligned or a linear. It's all capable with the one command, which is really, really quite nice. Now, something else you may or may not have noticed here is the color of my text. Okay, it's red, big deal. As you know, every time you place any piece of geometry in a drawing, what layer does it put it on? It puts it on the current layer. What is my current layer? It is layer 0. Excuse me. So what layer are these drawings on, these dimensions on? Let's have a look. Let's click on it. It's on the dimension layer. They've introduced a new tool, a new option in the dimensions. Okay, you can specify that when you're putting your dimensions in, they go on the dimension layer. Now, if I use a traditional dimension, such as this, that is actually on layer 0. Okay, so this only works with the new dimensioning tool. And to set it up, we'll go off to the Annotate ribbon, and we have the dimension panel right here. Use the drop down. Actually, we don't need to use the drop down. It's right here. You can specify which layer you want your dimensions on, and as you can see, they're on the dimensions layer. Now, it's a simple thing to do, but I think it's really, really, really good. Okay, moving on. Another enhancement I'd like to look at is another simple thing. Back on the home ribbon, what happens if we want to hatch this? Okay, let's do some hatching. I'll use the hatch tool here. Pick points. I'm going to put a hatch in here. Just make some changes. Let's just change this to a different scale. Pick points. Right. Boom. Okay. So what's the big deal here? What's so different about this hatch tool? Let's take a look. Okay. Layer 0. What layer is the hatch on? Let's have a look. We can see over here in the properties, it too is on the right layer, irrelevant of the fact that my current layer is layer 0. So again, this is another tool where they have specified, given us the opportunity to specify on the drop down in the hatch ribbon to specify which layer we'd like our hatches to go on. Another nice little feature there. Some text enhancements that are quite nice. It's a simple thing, but if I just add a piece of text here, okay. Now I'm going to go and add another piece of text, but I'm going to put it on a different layer. We've got a match text formatting button right here. Okay, So basically means if you've got text within an area and you've created a big lot of text, you can actually, if you're changing the text, you can use the match text properties. This is very much like your format painter inside of Word. So if you've got a piece of text, you've applied a style to it, and you've got a big long block of text. Okay, so if I made this bold, italic, and underlined, there we go. If I pick on this, match, I can then paste it onto there as well. So it works just like Format Painter. Another nice little addition, which is quite useful. Another area that you may or may not be aware of is, I'm going to put the number 2 in here. Let me just turn that back to normal using my Match Properties tool. There we go. Right, I'm going to highlight this piece of text here. Quite often we're dealing with something, we say it's 200 meters and you want squared. Now historically we've always been able to use the symbol, but we can just highlight a number 2, and up here we have either a subscript or a superscript option. So just by clicking a button, you can, so it could be cubed, it could be squared, or whatever else you'd like it to be. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at some other drawing formats and some nice enhancements that they've given us. I'm going to pop over to, let me just escape out of this. Okay. Right, down in the status bar, we have got some nice isometric tools. Now, they've just made this easier. This is nothing new. They've just made it a lot easier to use. So you can choose whether you want it to be isometric left or right. If I use top here, if I then also add on the grid display and also snap mode, it makes it very easy to start producing isometric drawings. So I could do something like this. And there we have it, an isometric drawing. Very simple, very easy. Just simply use these ISO tools that we've got here, decide the angle and the direction that you'd like to go in, and if you pop your grid on and your snaps on, you're good to go. By the way, if you do need to make your snaps a particular size, always remember to do a right click on here, go to your snap settings, and it's generally a good idea when you've got your snap on that you set your spacing size and your grid size to be the same or thereabouts. So we've got 10 in here and we've got 10 here, and then it just works really nicely. So thinking about the AutoCAD 2016, as I said, there's quite a few nice enhancements along these lines, but most of them are very much enhancements. There is a pretty comprehensive AutoCAD 2016 preview guide available. Okay, and what you're looking at there is, I think it's about a 35-page document, and it goes into detail. So if you'd like more information about how to get hold of the 2016 preview guide, put it in the notes, drop me a question, and I'll be happy to email you over the link so that you can download that without any problem. Okay. Right. Now, we need to move on to the next topic now. I hope you found that some of these enhancements that we've got here, the dimensioning, the revision clouds, some of the new text tools, they really are nice. I love the dimensioning, it's very useful. And the geometric tools that we've got it all looks really good. But let's have a look now at some of the how do we actually buy the product. Let's have a look at this. Okay. Quick review. Okay. Before we move on, here's just a few of the tools that you'll find in AutoCAD LT and the AutoCAD. And also you'll notice there that when you get AutoCAD that's in a design suite, there are some additional tools as well, like raster to vector conversion. Okay, so if you do need to deal with old historical drawings, you can get those scanned, bring them in, and you've got raster design, which will help you manipulate and reuse that data that you've got. Purchasing routes for BIM software. Currently, there are two ways to buy your Autodesk software: perpetual license or desktop subscription. Perpetual license has traditionally been bought in one of two ways. Standalone products. These are the standalone single programs, for example, just AutoCAD, just Revit, etc. And these can be bought as a perpetual license. You buy it and it keeps on working at its current version for as long as you need it in that version. Then we've had design suites. These can also be bought as a perpetual license, and suites contain a range of different products to suit your total design process, from illustration right the way through to construction or fabrication. And finally, we have desktop subscriptions. These are a way to rent the software for a period of time that you need them, and then you decide what to do after the end of that term. And we're going to go into more detail about this a little shortly. The way in which we will own our software in future is changing, and it's only a matter of time. So, probably want to get your notebooks out here. Standalone products, single licenses, will no longer be available from the end of January 2016. Design suites, perpetual licenses, will no longer be available from the end of July 2016. Thereafter, only desktop subscriptions will be available. Also, please be aware that after these cut-off dates, there will be no upgrade or cross-grade opportunities available. Okay, but you're thinking, what about my current perpetual license and upgrading those in the future? Well, the answer is your subscription account. If you maintain your subscription, no gaps, you have an upgrade route. So your big investment in a perpetual license is not lost, but please remember, you must maintain your subscription to get the next version. So if you're currently on 2015 or 16, and you'll then want to move to 2017, 18, 19, and so on, you need to maintain your subscription. Otherwise, if you have a gap, your next upgrade will actually be buying, or rather renting, via the desktop subscription route. Yep, this is quite a change from the purchase model we have been used to for such a long time. But as we've seen in so many software industries, software rental is becoming the norm. And let's take a look at how this is going to work with the Autodesk products. Okay, the question is, why subscription route? For many people, the cost of buying a design suite can be prohibitive. But rental costs are, by comparison, much lower. and this makes it financially easier to be able to have access to the latest software. There's no big upfront investment required. With flexible rentals, it becomes easier to accommodate staffing changes. As people come or go, or if you need extra capacity for the duration of a project, desktop subscription allows you just to get what you need when you need it. In addition, when we're on desktop subscription, there are several other advantages that Autodesk are providing us with. Okay, first up, if you've got a desktop subscription, you can install your software on multiple machines. Employees, are increasingly working from locations other than their main office, and desktop subscription provides the ability to install your software on multiple machines to allow use in multiple locations. Sometimes you not only need to work from locations outside of your home office, your base office, you need to work outside of your country, and Autodesk's global use rights under the desktop subscription make it so that you can work seamlessly abroad as well. So you don't necessarily need to take your equipment with you. You can log in and things like that. So it makes life a lot easier. Just as you want to stay up to date with the most current software to remain competitive and make sure you've got all the latest tools, there are quite a few cases where having the previous versions of Autodesk software helps as well to ensure consistency. If you're working on a long-term Inventor project or on a long-term Revit project, then as you know, all people that are collaborating on that project need to be working on the same version of that software. So if you've got 2016, but the people you're collaborating it with, or maybe your client needs it in an earlier version, 2014, 2015, the desktop subscription allows previous version use on your desktop. Okay. Desktop subscription also includes access to various cloud services. Okay, and this can help extend your workflow from the desktop to anywhere you have access to the internet, mobile services. And each desktop subscription, okay, each named user is entitled to 25 gigabytes. That's 25 gigabytes of secure cloud storage. And this is using the 360 tools. Now, in addition to just the storage capability here, there's an awful lot of cloud computing power available. So if you need to run rendering services, for example, or if you need to do green studio analysis, structural analysis, heat load analysis, Autodesk have got the tools in the cloud, so you can use all of their servers and all the power of their servers, and it makes life quicker, and it doesn't tie up your own systems. Okay, so it can help you run complex and resource-intensive tasks without tying up your desktop. In addition, you get a cloud credit allocation, which can be used to perform those tasks. So part of your subscription will mean that you get cloud credits as well. Okay, so let's take a look and see what type of desktop subscriptions we've got. Yeah, just checking the questions coming in. I'm getting some requests for that preview guide for AutoCAD 2016. And so at the end of this, I'll email you the links that you need. Okay, so I'll do that after the show. Just let me know if you're interested. Okay, let's take a look at what type of subscriptions we have available. You've actually got more choices with desktop subscription. There are 4 ways to buy that allow you to choose which subscription, which type of subscription is right for you, based on your budget and the type of work that you do. We've got monthly subscription. Okay, monthly subscriptions. These are great for freelancers, startups, or very small businesses, or for anyone really who needs access to the required software just for the duration of their project. Desktop subscription requires the lowest upfront investment and provides the most flexibility. If a project doesn't come in as expected, you can easily cancel your subscription at the end of the month. And then wait for that project to come in, then restart it. Quarterly desktop subscription. Now, this is ideal for established companies, large and small, who often experience seasonal workflow, temporary staff hires, and those ad hoc projects that we get. Quarterly desktop subscription allows you to easily ramp up or scale back on your software requirements. Annual desktop subscription. These are appropriate for companies that need longer-term access. Larger companies that are working on complex, ongoing projects may find that annual desktop subscription is helpful when they need to have access to various specialized pieces of software to get the job done. Also for smaller businesses who have seen their project pipeline become more stable and predictable, yet they remain cautious about large expenditure. Multi-year desktop subscription. Okay, these are obviously ideal for established companies with predictable project workloads over a long period of time. A multi-year desktop subscription can save you money while taking advantage of the fact that the price is going to be locked in for the length of the contract, and that makes your finances that much more manageable. So here we have the future of ownership. So remember, if you've got perpetual licenses and you want to keep those maintained and you want to be able to upgrade them, get them on subscription now. Otherwise, that ability will be lost. Okay. Otherwise, it's desktop subscription, and we've seen it in so many different pieces of software as well. So it's reluctantly, it's not really a surprise. We've seen it with Microsoft software. We've seen it with Adobe software and many others. Let's face it, even our TV, we buy our access to our TV on a monthly basis these days as well. To learn more about Autodesk software and other Graitec services, please come along and visit our website at graitec.co.uk. Or why not just give us a call on 023 8086 8947. Well, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time out to attend this webinar. I hope it's given you some useful information that you can feed on. We've got some requests coming in for the preview guide, and I'll be very happy to give you I'll email you through the links for those personally. But once again, thank you for your time today, guys, and see you next time. Bye-bye.